What's up, guys? Bit of a gloomy day here in New England, a little rainy. It's a Sunday, get some coffee and chill out. So I figured maybe once and for all I could maybe finalize a pedal board. Things that I would set up. I mean, everything's going to work differently for you and for your setup, but it would be just something to do, some kind of content. And it's going to be basically just the simple way around it. It's some of these guys that are building these pedal boards is just these amazing masterpieces. But I'm just going to do a quick little build with stuff I had, walk you through everything that I'm going to use first, and then we'll just focus on building it right in front of you. I found over time this is just enough for what I need, nothing too crazy. I had to make a small modification here, add an extra hole for the plug to pass through. I'll explain that in a minute. But yeah, this is the board we're going to use. Very simple. It fits inside a carrying bag, nice and compact, modular. You can move it around at gigs. It's easy to pack up, and this is the one we're going to use. As far as power supply, I just always use the Voodoo Labs. You know, there's a ton of them out there now. I just, for the amount of work I need, this just facilitates that, and it's a great pedal power. It's a great power supply. I do set this up a little differently. They supply you with these two holes here for this to kind of pass through, and your plugs and connections can facilitate those holes, and you can plug everything in. But I like to keep this as far away from the wah-wah as I can, so I'm going to mount this all the way over on the edge here, and my wah-wah is going to be on this side. Just it helps with noise, and it helps keep things kind of quiet, and I'm a big fan of that. So that's where this is going, and that's why this extra hole is in there. So getting into the pedals, I'll show you guys. This is the order that they're going to go into. I think I'm going to go with this old MJM black germanium. Really cool. I just got this one. I had a few of these in the past, and they just do that really warm germanium thing. I've been looking for one for a while. Tried a couple of the red ones, but then this one came up again. Struck a relationship with the seller, and I was able to get this thing at a pretty fair price, and I'm excited because it does have some great tone. Coming out of that, we're going to go into the Octaland. This is Jesse Davies Octaland Mini. Really like this one. I was so excited about the tone knob on here, because instead of rolling the tone knob on your Strat, playing with this pedal, and then if you shut the pedal off, your tone knobs roll on a Strat, you can pretty much just get your sound right with this tone knob here. Jesse is really great with this pedal too, because if you use this mix knob quite right, you can kind of get a zonk tone. It's got plenty of output, plenty of fuzz or drive. Just a great pedal from Jess. Coming out of that, this is an old late 60s Vox V846. I like these wah-wahs. This has a white gear iCar. It's a trash can inductor. Just all the good stuff, all the accessories you want, and a great sounding wah. Was able to get this from a buddy of mine. I'm going to use it on a power supply here, so Voodoo Labs, and in one spot they sell all these adaptive cables, so I grabbed one of them for this. And this bottom plate is off like a newer wah, maybe a V847, and I was able to put a ton of Velcro on here so it sticks to the board nice with no issues. But yeah, old Vox wah-wah on the board. Coming out of that, we're going to go into the Kingtone BluesPower. Now, I like this pedal as opposed to a Tube Screamer or a Duelist, because you kind of get yourself a free EQ here. If you're playing at a club and you can't really get your amp to move enough steam, then you can kind of use this as an attenuator or a break in a way. And I've done a video on that showcasing how I use that. But you can pretty much just get those tubes soaking with the volume of the amp, and then use this volume knob here and break the amp down. You adjust your EQ here, your bass and treble, your drive, the amount of drive you have, and then you have your glass, your stock, and your edge settings. I like it on the edge. I've also been recently playing it on the glass. It's been a lot of fun. But also, if you use this has a ton of volume, and it's just a really fat boost, as opposed to the Duelist. The Duelist is a dual overdrive, and I don't really want to overdrive my signal. I just want to kind of take it and make it sound a little wider. So this is the one for me. Coming out of that, we have the weaverFX Violet Vibe. I'm a big vibe freak. I have the old ones. I've used a Mega Vibe for a long time. The Mega Vibe was my #1 for the longest, but the Weaver here, Rick Weaver was able to find something in the circuit, and he keeps this vibe really, really thick and really fat, even when the gain is on. And that's something that sometimes the Univibes, when you hit it with a fuzz, or you hit it with an overdrive, it can get a little hissy. This one stays really thick, really big. He sent a power supply cable with it that he modified, and this just has the right amount of volume. It's got a lot of intensity. I'm actually backing off on the intensity quite a bit. I think this is going to go on the board. I have an old Ultra Vibe too, a really old Bob Sweet one, number 98. I really wanted to get to use this, but for some reason, with the setup and with the other pedals I'm using, this just doesn't. This is great. This is extremely loud. You'll never have to worry about volume with here. It's got great intensity, but Rick's pedal just keeps the fuzz tone and the drive tone a little thicker. So for this pedal board build, I'm going to go with this one. I'm not really a crazy delay guy, you know, an echo type deal, but for a little bit of ambience if I want it, I'm going to go with this affordable Ibanez echomachine. These hit the market recently. I know Dave over at LA Sound Design has been using these like crazy. For $100 if you can find them, they're a really, really great pedal. They keep your signal warm. They don't brighten it up like some delays or echoes do. And this is just for some, you know, intermittent sounds. Whenever I may be using it, I'll have it on there. And then just keep everything tuned up. We got a little small Korg pitch black mini. And that's just, you know, on and off. You can adjust it, your displays and all calibrations and all that. Takes power supply, and it's a small footprint on the board, so this will work great. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mount the power supply, because that's where everything's going to start from. We're going to get that mounted. The Voodoo Labs comes with these brackets. So we're going to get that mounted in the board, make sure that's all working right, and then we'll start running some cables, running some wires, laying everything out, and seeing what we get. Another cool thing about this pedal power is it has like adjustable sag knobs for the last two positions. I like to run my octave and my fuzz on that. So I'm basically going to test that now, and I'm going to make sure I have the voltages set right before I go ahead and install it. That way I like to run the fuzz and the octave at about 8.5 volts. Nothing really crazy. It just kind of gives you a little bit of a feel of a premature fading battery, but not by much, you know what I mean? You're only talking 8.5 volts. It's nothing crazy. But we'll just put our multimeter on voltage. So we got 8.9 on that one, and we got 8.7. So I'll adjust these now. So it's just a little, basically a potentiometer in there, you know, and you just turn it till you get your desired voltage, and you know, use your multimeter to test it out. So that's 8.4.5. I'll go with that. On the Octavia one, I'm going to spin this a little bit as well. So 8.5. So now that I have my fuzz and Octavia voltages set for that little bit of natural sag, I can go ahead and mount this. Comes with this little bracket. Okay, now, so phase one, power source is mounted. We can unplug that for now. But there you go. Nothing's falling off, anything like that. So I'll kind of initially just lay out where I'm going to want those to go. Cool thing to grab is these little adhesive cable hold downs from Amazon. I can put the link down below if you want, but I like to use these. You can pretty much just stick these on anywhere, snap a zip tie through there, and it'll hold stuff without putting a bunch of screws and making a big mess. So I know the fuzz and the Octavia are going to be about here. So I'll just get a zip tie in there. Try to keep it clean. I've never been one to, you know, have one of those really clean, beautiful pedal boards, and I really should, because, you know, it's just, it makes troubleshooting, it makes things extremely easy, you know. But for now, I've just always done it myself, so keep going. Now my Univibe is going to sit to the side here. It's going to sit above this power supply, and that's going to receive power from the top. So I want to leave a little extra there. I think that may work just fine the way it is. And as you can see, this is nothing intricate, just a series of laying things out where they might go, and then putting a zip tie on it to secure it. But I mean, with guitar players too, is I think that one of the great things when you're always growing and you're trying to learn and you're trying to expand on your sound is you're always trying new things, you know. So it's tough sometimes when you have the pedal board all set up and it's clean, and then you want to fit a pedal in there and it just doesn't map out quite right, and you got to kind of rearrange things. But I think you know, with no risk, no reward. So we have the fuzz, the Octavia, and the Univibe laid out. We know where those are going to go. My wah-wah is going to plug in here. Now I have my wah-wah. I have this cable attached in here, so I'll have to just flip the board over afterwards and run it. And, you know, grab the zip ties up over here. So the BluesPower. I'll show you a little something now. When I have this set up, the BluesPower would kind of be, the height of the fuzz would be too high. So if I were to step on the BluesPower, I'd be moving the knobs on the fuzz unintentionally, you know. So this is just a block of wood. I put black masking tape on, and I'll affix this to the board, you know, and then I'll just put this on top of it so it kind of elevates the pedal. And now when you lay this out there, the fuzz is slightly lower than the BluesPower when this is sitting, you know, at an angle like the way it is. So you won't have to bump these knobs unintentionally. So it's just a little trick, you know what I mean? I've seen guys do that before. You just use a block of wood, paint it black or something like that, and, you know, on you go. So that power source is going to come up. It's going to come up near the Univibe, and I'm gonna take quite a bit of that, so I'll leave that long for now. Just get these all laid out together. And then lastly, we're working with the tuner and the delay, which I don't need too much for. Just to reiterate, it's no masterpiece, but it's somewhat of clean and tidy, and you know, easily isolated if there is a problem. All the power sources are laid out. Like I said, we have the fuzz and the octave. Let's flip this over, see what we got. Okay. So I knew I was going to leave that a little long for the BluesPower. I favor my wah-wah all the way towards the edge of the board. It's just always been a thing. I have a big fat foot, so maybe that has something to do with it, but just sometimes when you're hunting around for it, stepping in the middle of a board, it's kind of tricky. So that's going to be the power source for that. We know where that's going. We'll just stick that up there out of the way. This was that little real estate tip there. Seeing that the BluesPower exits out here, I'll just feed that to it this way. This is basically for things you can walk right to your hardware store and get. You know, you can get some zip ties. I mean, you can't get a pedal train pedal board at your hardware store, but you know, this is just a straightforward way. It still keeps it clean, and you know, it's not necessarily an eyesore. There's no extra cables dragging on the floor, you know, keeping things from getting pulled out by accident. You know, some of these pedals too can be extremely heavy, and it's great to just have the Velcro there holding on to everything. So there we go. We got the BluesPower plugged in. We have the wah-wah powered up. We know we can lay the fuzz on. I want to get this as close to the edge as possible because the cables I'm using are a pancake jack style. Right now, we have our layout. Our power supply is mounted. All our power is distributed to our pedals. We're going to start stringing these up. One more thing I want to note, too, in this little spot right over here. So I have this vacant area right here above the wah-wah, and I favor my wah-wah all the way to the right. But I like to have the fuzz see the guitar first, you know, so I'm going guitar into fuzz, Octavia to the wah, to the BluesPower, to the vibe, echo, tuner. So, you know, to snake a cable all the way through there every time I set up would be kind of awkward. So I'm just going to use this. So it's just a Keeley looper, and I'm gonna lay this here. And now I'll plug into the looper, and the looper just maybe acts as a junction to a union to go from here to the fuzz first. It's really simple. It's straight through. This is just my straight signal passing through. If I were to click it on, it would engage something else in a loop, which I'm not doing. I could put the entire pedal board in a loop and have a bypass in case something goes wrong, but I'm not really going to do that right now. But I'm just going to, I'll end up plugging into this first and then hitting the fuzz. So that's pretty much how the board is looking as it is. You know, you can hang it upside down and nothing's falling off. We have our power supply in the back. Just, you know, like a working man's board, just as neat as you can get it with some zip ties and some stuff you grab at the hardware store. So now we're going to start putting cables on these and getting some signal going through here. So I found these Audio Blast cables on Amazon. They got a pancake jack, really well constructed, and I found, you know, they're not really a tone killer or anything like that. So I bought a few in different sizes. I got a 6-inch, a foot long, and 1.5 foot. So these are just really great cables. I really liked what they did, and they're tight. They're out of the way. So we're just gonna wire it up with some different lengths and see what we get. Oh, these are really cool too. It looks like they've changed their design. So they're black outside, which is really nice too. Nice and clean, nice and organized. I like that. So we know we're gonna loop these two together because of my signal path that I've chosen. You know, also keep in mind, guys, too, is you're going to be laying all of this out, and there's going to be times where you're hooking and unhooking pedals. Don't get frustrated, because, you know, you put all your your attention to detail, and you want it to be right. I mean, you know, you get everything laid out, and then you got to remove a pedal again to lay it in there. Just take your time, and you know, the more patience you have, it'll come out right in the end, and you'll be satisfied with the finished product. So I think that's it for the shorter ones. So that's that so far, nice and tight and secure. We're gonna switch to a different size now. These are 1.5 foot. I'm not sure if we'll need some that long. These are 1 foot long. Let's see what these get us. Okay. This is more than likely going to go to the fuzz. Like I said, I just went and put all of that in there nice and neat to wire up the BluesPower, and then I had to remove it again. But don't get frustrated. Okay, now that should be it as far as this end. The Octavia is gonna go into the Vox wah-wah. So I think I'm going to need, we're gonna go with 1.5 feet. Down below where nobody can see it yet. And I think we'll have just, oh yeah, perfect. So that's gonna run there. This will run like that. And that'll come right up, meet the Octavia right there. Okay, so this portion of it, so far we have the fuzz wire, the fuzz chain complete, into the octaland complete, into the wah-wah complete, into the BluesPower complete. Now we're left with coming out of the Vibe and just going to the, looks like we just need to come out of the Vibe and go into the Echo and we're good. Okay, so we just basically, our last one needed is to come out of this Vibe, hit the Echo. But as you can see here, the power source is too close to the jack there. So I have to find something with a tighter body as opposed to this pancake jack, which is okay. So let me look through my cables and see if I can find something. But there you have just something clean, you know, and this is nothing mind-blowing. I'm not reinventing the wheel here. All of you guys are out there building pedal boards and putting stuff together, but I was never one to just build a board and leave it alone. But for the testing and a lot of the videos, sometimes it's nice to have some tones on a board, nice and neat, and you can just take it and move it wherever you need to. But so far, that's how we're looking. I'm excited about this one. Okay, so we got the top side wired up, and just to keep everything kind of straight here, we have a little bit of excess from the Univibe one. And instead of just putting another one of those sticky tabs, I'll grab it over here, loop to these other ones. Now that'll be a hindrance if you have a cable that goes, you know, and you gotta end up snipping it and pulling a bunch of other different cables with it. But these are brand new cables and I've had great luck with them. I don't have a bad thing to say about them. So for now, we'll just go with that and get this guy powered up. Okay, so here we are. We have power. Univibe's hitting, which is good. Tuner's working. Echo's on. Octaland. Fuzz doesn't have an LED. BluesPower was strong. So yeah, I mean, I'll give you some tone clips in a second here, but there's a really cool, quick SRV, Hendrix, blues rock, Joe Bonamassa, Philip Sace, Doyle, you know, just fuzz, Octavia, dirty, Texas blues, all kinds of tones just in one, you know. And this echomachine can really get some out of sight with the Univibe and some good reverb on the amp and get a little nuts. But there's a little look into a pedal board build that's secure. It's not going to fall anywhere, and I really like that. I can keep it in the house. I can keep it on the floor. I can move it in the corner if I'm not into using that stuff for now. And it's all right there. So let's do a line check. Let's see how it sounds. In the signal chain in order so you know which way they go. So first thing is clean tone. Mentioning here with the octaland is you can get it to be like a really cool zonk type pedal. That's why I chose it, because it kind of has more than one purpose. So here you have your really then if you just take the mix knob and you kind of can get an overdrive out of it if you go all the way here. I like to go maybe something like that. It's just got really cool features to it, and I like that. Usually on a delay, I'll keep it on like a something like a little something like that. Not as a hard repeat though. Maybe something like that right there. Like I said, with the Weaver pedal, just has a great way of staying big. really like that feature. And then, so I have the BluesPower set up now to just be like a boost of my tone. But if you were playing with an amp that was too loud, like say if you went into the club and this is your tone, you know, and they tell you it's too loud. So basically I would go like this. So, you know, and I would just simulate my tone. Like right there. So now I've just knocked the dB down quite a bit as opposed to. You know, you're bringing the dB down so you get that. Now I can turn it on and I can still get my overall beefy sound. You know, you can still get your wasp tones and all that. It's just at a different volume, so you're not killing, you know, the audience and you're killing the sound guys. The fuzz still rips. So you're kind of using the BluesPower as like just a break. There you go, guys. There was just a quick pedalboard build for the working man. You know what I mean? Some zip ties, a couple of adhesive hold downs. Got a pedal train, some patch cables from Amazon, and a bunch of pedals that would facilitate the sounds I'm looking for. Like I said, it's definitely an SRV, Jimi Hendrix, blues rock, riff, you know what I mean? Just wah-wah infused, you know, board, but it suits the purpose and it serves my needs, and it was just a lot of fun. And you can hear how I use the octaland differently and I use the BluesPower differently. Really great. You know, I always liked using a pedal for something that it wasn't really intended to. It's really, really enjoyable to me. There you go. There's my sounds. Now I'll have a pedal board on the floor. I'll be able to, you know, tap into some tones whenever I want to. If I'm doing an Instagram live or a Facebook live, the tones are right there. I appreciate you guys sticking around for this video. I hope you could use some of it. And till the next one, peace.